Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Comms Noise, Star Wars Armada podcast. I'm Chris. Here with me today are...
I'm Ben.
Matt.
And Ricky.
So we've got a packed agenda for you today on episode 2. First we're going to talk a bit about the Corellian conflict article that was released on the FFG website a week or so ago. Get excited about that. Brief chat about the World's Prizes. And then the FAQ that was released in the tournament rules, we're going to go through some of the changes in that. Then we're going to have a quick break, and then we've all prepared for your delectation a list that we're just going to talk through each. And there's a bit of a mix. There's some fun stuff in there, and some hot tournament metaing. So how can you make a really good list even better? So we'll get to that later. We probably should call this episode Recon because we want to kill him twice in Corellian conflict. He's the prize for Worlds. He did get fact, and he's probably in all the lists later. So he's probably going to feature quite heavily.
Wow, welcome to Recon Cast.
Yeah, Recon Cast.
I like it.
Is he in our break as well?
Yeah, we could. Is there a song? We could get a quote from Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, what does he say?
A
death mark's not an easy thing to live with, Solo. Something like that.
That's got to be fun.
I think that's literally his only line in the whole thing.
Yeah.
But he's so good. Why is it not longer?
Yeah, Vader's in a lot, and he's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's the trick.
That's the trick.
The more in the films you are, the shitter you are.
Terrible. In the film a lot.
Oh, man. Akbar, only in 2 scenes.
Awesome.
Really good.
That's it.
There's Motti. Motti is explained. He's in that one scene, and he's the best.
Which scene is he?
He's in Don't Frighten Us With Your Sorcerous Ways, Vader.
Oh, yeah.
When he gets choked. Although that's not narrowing it down for Imperial Admirals.
But they all die.
They all get choked.
Yeah. Cool. Right, let's talk about the Corellian conflict article. So, FFG just gave a bit of a preview.
Yeah, October 12th, called Playing the Long Game.
We're looking, we were hoping for a sort of mid to end November release, but I think, did someone say it's been delayed a bit to...
Well, they said end of November,
right.
but
Oh, really?
Let's be honest, it's going to be December. It's probably going to be Christmas
when was
time.
the last time an Armada thing came out on time?
Whoa.
It's always delayed. That's the rule. You spend 6 months looking at previews for it, and then it gets delayed by 3 months.
We still love you, fancy play games.
Yeah, it's one of those...
Even when they give super vague release dates, like Q4...
Basically...
They're still late. It's a 3-month window.
If they didn't preview it, it would be fine. If they didn't say they were going to release it and preview it 6 months, so you're like desperate for it to arrive.
Yeah.
If it just turned up, you wouldn't know about it.
Exactly. Well, they put the article out 2 weeks before it's out.
Yeah, exactly.
When it's all made, packed away, ready to ship.
Anyway,
Should we actually just talk about the article?
No, let's not.
So
what have we got? So it's...
Right, so it's basically talking about how to play team-based campaign games, which sounds amazing. I'm really looking forward to playing it.
The key points are everybody... You get a new objective, which is green objective, which is only in campaign. You can't play in tournaments.
So you don't have to buy this to play tournaments.
Yeah.
You have to share everything. That's the big...
You have to share all the character stuff, which is awesome, because I'm really looking forward to playing like the 80% of upgrade cards that I don't even remember the names of or what they do. Because I looked at them and go, nah.
Because only one person can have Reimer, only one person can have Demolisher, one person can have Yavaris. But what if the guy who gets Yavaris doesn't get Recon? What if you draw straws for who gets what?
I think you're going to be saying...
You'd have to trade, wouldn't you? You'd have to trade. Although it will literally be the rebel strategy will be all the character squadrons, Riken and Yavaris, and then just vanilla stuff over here.
Oh man,
everyone gets to play that list.
You're just trying to win that game. You put in all your eggs in that game.
Oh, that's quite a fun way of doing it, though, isn't it? You could shuffle all the unique cards together and just dish them out between the players.
That'd be awesome.
So one guy gets Home One and Donna's Pride and Paragon.
Wow,
be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would be pretty terrible.
I think it'll be alright. I don't think it'll be bad because you can probably have Akbar. You can have Recon. I don't know who you would have for the third. Mon Mothma.
Yeah, you can make a Dodonna TRC thing. That's all right.
Dodonna's good. Yeah, and I like Kraken.
Yeah,
Kraken's good. Yeah.
In fact, I think the Imperials are going to have a harder time than the Rebels because Motti's good. And all the others are...
I keep saying multi's good, but it's just good value.
Good value. Yeah.
Good value.
Yeah.
Well, because every time I'm making a list, I think, well, shall I include this Admiral? And then I think, I'm paying 8 points to lose 3 hull points off of my ships.
Yeah.
It's not great.
So what are the other Imperial options? What Screed? If you
Screed's
have
okay. You can
crit
make
heavy
an
and you need to guarantee
you
this.
can make,
if you write the list around them, it's pretty cool.
You could make like an MSU list with Screed.
And also, I guess, for MSU.
Yeah, or Ozzel, yeah. And then you could do a Tarkin's like not amazing, but he'd be fun to use.
I hear he's good in a Gazanti.
He's good in a Gazanti.
As we'll find out later.
More on that later. No, I think like because you'll be you won't have all the optimized upgrades and all the optimized combos.
Yeah,
you'll be scrabbling around for stuff. So having tokens of your choice might become quite strong.
Yeah, we'll find some whole new combos.
And you could do a Constantine Interdictor list because I'm sure Interdictor will be good with all the capture stuff objectives.
Yeah,
so you could do a Constantine Interdictor list. It'd be quite nasty.
It'll be funny though. There'll probably only be one Interdictor list in 3. You're not going to take them for any
all
of
not all of them, but most of the upgrades on the Interdictor are unique.
But
Interdictor itself.
Well, the title, most of the projectors are.
Yeah.
So really, only one of you wants it. Because if you don't have,
as soon as you don't have Interdictor, it's a bit.
You wouldn't want to take more than one.
Fine. So what else have we got? They've previewed some objectives, but they're all
the green ones.
Complicated.
But yeah, this one sounds cool. Ion cannon, base defense. That's just Battle of Hoth, isn't it? So I think they'll be quite well themed and just cool.
And then you strategize. You choose where you're attacking. You then play games, and then you have a management phase where you harvest the resources, and you can use it to refit your ships and other stuff, I guess. And then so if a ship dies,
so stuff gets damaged.
What happens? Does it lose? What happens the first time? It becomes scarred, right?
Yeah. So you have to pay points to refit it.
But does it lose anything when it's scarred?
It scars
it loses
one
defense token.
It takes 1 damage at the start of the game.
Wow.
And if it dies when it's scarred, then it's gone forever.
Yeah.
So I think you have to bank on controlling enough of the map that you can fully repair.
In the beginning, so the first few.
But you have your fleet is more than just your fleet, though, isn't it? You have like more than 400 points in your hangar or whatever. You want
I hope you start with some
like some spare ships, basically.
Otherwise, well, I don't know. I assumed you just have whatever your points are, but it's only character ships that die or get scarred, or is it your actual just vanilla vanilla stuff? Just getting really wow, that's cool.
Squadrons.
It's quite a lot of paperwork.
Does that count for squadrons?
Squadrons lose the damage. Yeah, if they're character squadrons and they get scarred, they start with 1 less damage.
Just 1 less.
I assume so. If they're scarred.
Yeah. It's gonna be.
But just imagine when Janos gets removed from the campaign.
Yeah, it changes everything, doesn't it? So there's certain cards that really define how the game's played.
You just spend the points to repair her. You wouldn't
even risk it.
No,
and she's probably so cheap. Maybe you can't afford to repair, a Star Destroyer because it'll cost you a lot of points. But you'd think the fighters would be a lot cheaper.
I wonder if you get to share them across if someone had a really good game. Is it just them pooled together and you repair? You can
prop your teammates up, maybe. Who knows? There's really not that much information in here.
No, there's maximum 500 point total fleet points.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't need to spend your resources to maintain it, you can buy extra ships or squadrons. So you could get mismatches. You could have 500 points versus 300 points.
But that's just a stomp, though.
But you don't know. You play accordingly, though, don't you? You don't have to go head to head. You can just try and pick something off and run away. You're not looking to win the game necessarily. You're looking to not die and maybe just take out one key thing before you go.
Yeah.
Will that happen though? You think where you just have a standoff where both teams don't want to get any damage. They've got loads of scarred ships on both sides. You end up just I'm just going to stay back.
I've played a lot of campaign systems in other games, and you do get games where basically both people just fly off the board at the start of the game because they don't want to lose something cool and they don't think they can win.
You stay over there, I'll stay over here.
That's ridiculous, isn't it?
Peace treaty for one game here.
And they've got the 2.
I guess that's narrative, though, because a lot of military campaigns would have been fought like that. They'd have been fought like skirmishes. You just need to manoeuvre.
Well, especially naval conflict. Through World War I and World War II, it was really rare to get a pitched naval battle because, these ships take years to build and cost millions. You don't want to just throw them away unless you know you can win.
On each one.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the 2 special assault objectives look quite cool as well. The Hyperlane Raid and Show of Force. And it's once per game you can do one of you can announce one of these, like the Imperial has Show Force and the Rebel has Hyperlane Raid, and they just look like interesting missions to play. Especially the Hyperlane Raid, where the 3-foot edges of the player become the player edges. So then it's just
so playing a long game.
Yeah. And the Rebels just have to get out of there from what I can
escape with your life.
Well, yeah, these missions should hopefully all be a bit more like cinematic and themed up.
Definitely.
So that won't work with A Gazantes.
I probably wouldn't be running that list.
I hope not.
God, yeah, just the attrition you'd suffer. You lost like 4 or 5 ships every game. Your maintenance fees.
Repair them.
Yeah, they're going to be like
so cheap,
15 points.
It's cheap to repair.
They're crazy cheap.
I think you'd be okay.
I think we can afford that. Although you might get choked by Darth Vader for your lack of...
He is as clumsy as he is stupid.
Vader's not worried about losses, though, as long as you get results. You can lose 7 of those 8 Gazantes, but if you bag the target...
Yeah, that is very true. Yeah.
Promotion.
So I think we're all very, very much eager to play this Corellian.
Yeah,
it'll change.
Make a nice change of pace from the tournament practice.
Definitely, and
put a bit more story to all the games.
Yeah, just keen to try out some of the stuff that's cool, but not actually like that effective. Like I'd love to try out some of the YV666 stuff with Ruthless Strategist shenanigans and stuff. It's not quite good enough to work in a optimized list, but be fun in a campaign or that kind of thing. Maybe fly Luke at a Death Star or something. Fly Luke at a base, and
I might even crank out the victories for once.
Yeah.
Might be what you can afford.
So if you lose Bosk in a game and he becomes scarred, he gets his special ability at the start of the next game.
Oh yeah, he just starts triggered, doesn't he?
Does he?
He's angry.
And loses his only defense token.
He's angry.
He just turns up and
just flying around and into it.
That's a risky way to play. Very risky.
That would be pretty rubbish, actually.
So we will need to sort a game. We'll have to record a lot of the details of what occurs in our game.
Yeah, I think we should try and do it like in a day or over 2 weeks or something. Like try and play 2 or 3 games in a day if we can.
Yeah, I'd be super keen for like release Sunday or something.
Yeah, just try and play half of a campaign or most of a campaign in a day and
let you guys know.
Get to, and then maybe play the finishing battle on like a Wednesday night or something.
Looking forward to it. I wonder if there's going to be any upgrade cards in there, because we know there's new unique squadrons in there.
Was it 12?
12 doesn't look like there's any upgrades.
No.
I thought I heard 12.
Don't know.
We'll find out soon.
We'll find out.
1 month
plus. Plus whatever.
On its new date time.
At some point, we just need to hire a boat and intercept some of these FFG ocean liners that
are pirates.
Send some Somali pirates to go and capture them for us.
Oh, we just need to get them hooked. We'll give them some intro games so they love it, and then they'll do it.
Then they stop pirating because they're too busy playing. As it stands, though, I think Wave 5 will probably come out at the same time. I reckon. They'll both come out at the same time.
Well, I don't know, because there's no models in that, and a lot of the hold-up is often the models. Because
although the card games always get held up as well.
Yeah, well, they all come from China on a big ship, don't they? Which often gets held up for
apparently
one reason or
that
another.
big shipping company went bankrupt recently.
Yeah, someone told me about
screwed
that.
everything over.
Yeah.
Could have been on that one boat that got stuck.
Well, it's not one boat. They've got like hundreds of boats. They're like
multiple boats.
Super ship.
They're all on that company. Then.
Well, they're all afraid to dock and be repossessed.
Anyone else got anything else to say about that for now?
No, the information's pretty sketchy.
There'll be another preview probably before release, with a bit more cards listed and more information.
Yeah. Good. And then they also released another article about the World's Prizes.
Oh yeah, the what could we find lying around the office to put in the goodie bag?
The 3x3 boards.
So on the surface, it all looks awesome, but when you drill down into it,
there's some nice stuff in there, but it does feel like a weird bag of shit that was lying around the office, all stuck together. Like a 3x3 playmat.
What's that? What the hell are you going to do with that?
Yeah, because of that famous capital ship battle that happened above Bespin that we're all wanting to refight. Looking forward to that.
Although,
why isn't it Endor?
It's only one guy. It's only one guy getting the map.
That's true.
Or girl. It's one person.
It was never going to be one of us, was it?
And it's not going to be one of us. So what do we care?
No, but you get a lovely trophy.
They can't use it because it's only a 3x3.
Well, you just have to win twice, Ricky. What kind of attitude is that?
Oh, and next to win twice.
The second 3x3 board they put up.
The fact, it's one thing though. I mean, we probably don't want to go through the prizes bit by bit, other than the cut of the cards.
What is that? So it's a sheet of uncut cards, or just like 6 cards on a A4 paper or something like that.
It's cool if it's like the first 6 new banknotes, whatever, serial, as a coin collector, but who cares?
There's literally no numbers. There's nothing on them.
Exactly, just cut them out and sell them on eBay.
Yeah. Maybe that's what they're just offering, so you get a little bit of prize money.
Just get some money, yeah. You have to make it yourself by eBay.
I just can't help but think they had a few more.
And I love like how this is how like the American tournament theory, like American convention theory, comes into it. You get a recon when you turn up.
Yeah.
And then if you're still there after lunch, you get another 2 copies.
Why? To stop people going, I lost my first game.
Exactly.
And I paid 50 quid to be here, but sod it, I'm going.
Yeah, exactly. I'll go and play in Netrunner or Game of Thrones.
They're all
on at the same time. Well, they're different. They mish the days up, so you can play in like I think Netrunner and Game of Thrones, because people play a lot of the same people play that.
Right.
They split the tournaments up, but I don't know about
Same thing
Armada
they did at Nationals.
Yeah. So it's like that, just completely. Whereas here, people would basically never drop in a tournament.
I don't know.
You might at a convention, but if you went to like if we went to something at this one in Cardiff,
you're
not going to drop.
No,
exactly.
I'm there to play.
You're there for a tournament.
I want to play so many games of Armada.
You might, if you go to a convention, because you might go.
Well, there's other stuff to do.
But
still, I don't get to play very often.
I know.
But I guess if I played like 10 games a week, and maybe I wouldn't be so bothered. But
But anyway, it's just so weird, isn't it? You get extra copies.
So you get 3 copies,
and then if you
just
turn up on the
up.
second day, you get more stuff.
I think you're right. They had extra.
Don't you get a promo from everything though as well? People were saying that you get all the old cards they do for all the game systems. They give you, if you play one of the game systems, they give you one of each of those as well.
Really?
So people trade their extras.
So you get the X-Wing and the Netrunners and all of that.
Someone was saying something along those lines.
Wow.
It could be a flood on eBay.
Maybe that's just if they've got a load more than they need.
Yeah. I mean, you'd always expect them to have extras just in case they have misprints and stuff. It just seems so funny that the top 4, the prize is uncut cards.
Is that how
I'd love to go in there and then it'd be like, can you guys cut them for me?
Have you got the guillotine?
Exactly, it's in their HQ, yeah. Have you got your little machine that punches them out, please?
But they tried to justify it. They've said, our prizes are usually either game components or collector's items. This unique prize is both.
Well, you can't. It won't be because you'd have to cut it out.
So it's one or the other. Yeah. It just happens to be a collector's item in its current
I think
form.
the most important thing here...
But I think the artwork is really nice.
Yeah,
I'll just say that.
It is great.
And
I shouldn't badmouth this because I used to go to Games Workshop tournaments and they never had any of this cool stuff. So it's just nice to have cool prizes.
Yeah. And the thing I've loved about, it was a Magic the Gathering thing originally, but FFG have kind of taken it and built it, is what they describe as the greatest prize in gaming, designing a card.
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
The Boba Fett in X-Wing, the crew card, he was designed by a winner, wasn't he?
Paul Heaver designed that.
Oh, I see.
I
don't see there's no Ewok card yet.
They used to do it. So
there must be ground rules. You can't put Jar Jar Binks in the game.
You can't just go in and say, right, I make a card, it's 1 point, and it is, if you're shooting at a ship called Demolisher, it dies. The game's like, we'll make that for you. What cover art would you like? They vet it. So I used to play a lot of Magic, and this was a Magic thing. So the world champion every year would get to design a card, and the artwork would be their face.
Wow.
in the card.
Freaky.
Yeah. So like they'd be like a mage or something, and it would be their face. Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah. Wait, when you say their face, I assume they used an artist to like redraw.
It's all it would be CGI
right.
yeah.
So can you imagine one of us just in like an imperial officer's hat,
basically
looking stern.
Yeah.
You could be like Captain Ricky.
You could be that Rican.
Or behind him.
Yeah. And it's a new card, right? You can't redesign a card. It just says design a card. I would probably go in and go, yeah, can I redesign Rican? Like just double his points to make him fair.
What would you pick if you had to?
It's difficult to, because the ones that have the most impact are the subtlest ones, like cheap ones that don't actually do anything particularly interesting, but they're very useful.
So you wouldn't try to like rebalance things you didn't like about the game with it?
I don't know. I'd have to have a think.
But like, it's subtle, isn't it? Because the next thing, and I know where this is branching out, that Boba Fett card was introduced so that you could. People say it was sort of to counteract like the prevalence of Palpatine and those sort of things, where you can have this cheap upgrade, which
it's a threat to our expensive upgrade.
Yeah, potentially strips. So in X-Wing, it strips upgrade cards off other ships if you land a face-up damage card, and it's quite hard to do situationally. But when it lands, and I've done it before, and you use Boba Fett to kill Palpatine, you're like, yes. So what would you do? What could you do in Armada?
Well, you could do the same thing that knocks out a card. That would be pretty powerful. If you could knock Demolisher title off of Demolisher. Or you could,
suddenly it's not some guy gets out and scrapes the paint off. Not a Demolisher anymore, mate.
What if we had that MS?
I'm calling it the SS Honey Pie.
Honey G.
So we had that MS1 ion cannon that they have, where it exhausts exhaustible upgrades to stop them using it. And now we all understand how that works. I can't believe it is FAQ.
Well, an anti-torpedo gun.
But what if you had a torpedo slot that you could not exhaust, but just
like put it face down for a turn or something like that?
I just think it's quite useful to stop the range of Brimer. Some kind of anti-long range torpedo gun.
Oh, we've already got those. They're called cluster bombs.
I tried. You don't get shot at. You never get shot at by Brimer when you've got cluster bombs.
No, and let's face it, they don't do anywhere near enough damage.
No.
But that would be quite cool, because there's nothing you can put on a ship that makes it any better against Reimer.
I think something that would just defend a bit longer range against. I know it only works against one card. It's a pretty prevalent card.
Bright Hope is the only thing I think that defends against. I mean, not specifically Reimer, but against.
Well, that's true.
Bright Hope's amazing against.
It is very good.
It's unbelievably good.
I should say Mon Mothma's quite handy, but
I just genuinely don't know. The cards that genuinely make differences to games are the really innocuous ones, like Bomber Command.
Yeah,
it's not exciting, it's not thrilling, it's not really particularly thematic, but it's amazing because it's so consistent, it's so versatile.
Torn Fire.
Yeah.
But then what are those cards that everyone always takes? Like ECMs, obviously that's huge.
Exactly, because it's just useful in every situation. It's just fundamentally a good card. It's anything that makes you more consistent is the ones that make the difference.
And it's not really much that lets you reroll reds.
No.
Nothing lets you reroll
Vader's
reds.
about it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, those concentrated fire tokens you're like.
Yeah.
But if you put something in the game that let you reroll reds, is everyone going to come back with that fire?
Well, yeah, it would make them a lot stronger.
I might do something like try and work out what upgrade cards they haven't done yet, like cool guys from the thing, like C3PO or something, or R2D2. Just try and work something thematic out, or do something like one card I always thought would be quite cool to have is like I try and do another maybe more ship titles, because I think there aren't enough titles.
Yeah, because a lot of ships have only got 2 titles.
Yeah, exactly. I try and I might make like a carrier, some ship that could be a carrier would be something like whenever you activate squadrons, if they don't have bomber, they get bomber. That'd be quite cool.
Ooh,
that'd be quite a cool thing to do. But you'd make it as a title for a specific ship
with a low squadron count.
With a low squadron count. You wouldn't just say, "Oh, it's 4," because you wouldn't say, "Oh, it's 4 points," but you can stick it on an ISD with an expanded hangar and have 5 of them. You'd put it on like an interdictor or gladiator or something, or a raider maybe. Cool. I don't know. Anyway, I'm never going to get the chance to do that, so it's a complete pipe dream. So let's be honest.
Yeah. People don't want to hear us talk for half an hour about cards that don't exist.
Cool. Yeah, that's not the best sell, is it?
Welcome to Hypothetical.
Maybe we should do a supplementary midweek podcast where we just hypothesise about the future. So in that vein, let's move on to the FAQ. So mine's on my high budget printout is on black and white. So
I colour it in red yourself.
I had to colour in the bits red myself, but Matt's got a
real one.
Yeah, so I think we'll just go over everything, and if it's necessary to talk about it, we'll talk about it. So the first one is jamming field. Am I right in saying there's two clarifications here?
So it's the only one that's actually an errata. All the others are clarifications. This one's actually a rewrite that changes two things about the card. To be honest, I think it was pretty obvious what the card was meant to do, but obviously wasn't clear enough. So the two things were, people thought you could turn it off and on because it said may.
No, it didn't even say may. So the original wording of the card is, while a squadron at distance 1 to 2 is attacking or defending against a squadron, the attack is treated as obstructed. And they were saying because it doesn't, there's some rule in the core rulebook that says if there's an effect, you can option. It's an option or something, and they were trying to leverage that. But to me, if it says the attack is treated as obstructed, there's no the attack maybe. I didn't get that at all.
No, I think maybe they were going with the whole idea of I don't have to use my upgrades if I don't want to.
Yeah, that must be.
But now it says must. So that's
it's such a cheeky interpretation to be like, I'll shoot you with my 4 dice and then I'll turn it on again to reduce your counter. It's like, no, that can't be how it's played.
And the other one, which I think is even more insane, was people thought that because of the way it was worded, that when a squadron is attacking or defending against a squadron, meaning that attacking anything, whether it's a squadron or not, effectively making this 2-point upgrade make you immune to all bombers. Was insane. So they added in when he's attacking a squadron or defending against a squadron.
Right.
So they added in an extra a squadron to clarify that it doesn't make you immune to bombers.
So that's that. I mean, that was something that we kind of all interpreted exactly as that, didn't we? None of us. It hasn't
changed how we use the card, but it stopped people abusing the card.
I think that was an obvious one. It's annoying that they have to do that kind of thing, but I guess in a precise
I'd rather they did it than they don't
do
it.
Yeah, exactly.
You just leave the arguments in the game.
Exactly.
Let's Google it. Let's look it up. This whatever.
Yeah. So well done for clarifying that. So the next one is something they've applied across all their events, all their game systems, which is the definitions of open, derived, and hidden information. I don't really think there's much in Armada. The example they use is most wanted. Brian forgets which ships were chosen and asks Steph which ships were chosen. She must answer honestly which she chose. She can't.
You would hope they would anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think much. Let's not talk about
I don't think
it'll
have a big impact on it.
It doesn't really have a big impact on Armada. It's more for card games
big impact on the card games and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just basically you can't lie and bullshit to your opponent.
Yeah. It's good that they've.
How many dice are you about to roll?
1.
Which ships have activated yet?
Yeah.
None of them.
Yeah, exactly.
But, you have to remember. You have to find out.
Yeah, wait and see if I can demolish it this turn or not.
Yeah. So it could speed it up a little bit, but no real effect. So there's the next thing, flotillas.
Yeah, flotillas are the size of their base. In case you ever get a large flotilla with like 10 transports on it, I suppose. Like on a large base.
I didn't see the point of that. I read that and was like, why?
It's just future-proofing in case they bring out flotillas on a larger base, I guess.
But that's almost like a question like, what ship size are ships?
Yeah.
Well, if it's a large base, it's large. If it's medium, it's medium. But I don't see why they needed to do that. Why did they need to do that?
No,
who knows?
No. Well, it sounds like we're going to see maybe a large beast.
Yeah.
Probably not large, but a medium-based flotilla.
Super flotilla.
Yeah.
With just like 3 corvettes.
Maybe.
Then
2 scatter tokens.
Clarified a few points about overlapping, which is cool. So I think we played.
You make it to the station now.
We played it like that.
Yeah, because I would have thought everything happens in the sequence it happens.
Yeah,
so if you died before hitting the station,
absolutely,
you were dead.
Yeah. But it's good to have that clarified. Then if you overlap a ship, you can bump a ship to keep you inside the play area.
That was obvious anyway.
But I think we all played it as that.
Yeah.
And then then this one I think is interesting because there was a question came up with this. 2 guys at Big were playing this, weren't they? I think that was.
I think this is when the interdictor changes your speed up temporarily.
That's right. Yeah.
Can you
exactly. Yeah. Because I think what this is saying. Correct me if I'm wrong. is it's saying because say your speed dial. I think the example was the Victory was going at speed 2, and Interdictor temporarily moved it to speed 1.
Right.
And then the opponent was saying, well, I'll just navigate my speed back up to 2 using my navigate token. But I don't think that works because your dial is still at 2, and the Victory's capped at 2. So you could do it if you had space, because you could go.
Wow.
So you could.
That makes Interdictor a lot better than I thought it was.
Yeah. I think it's an important. And at the time, we had it wasn't a game I was playing in.
I think I've played a game where
the two guys asked you and me, didn't they?
Yeah.
Ricky, we were playing, and they came across and asked us, and we had a quick look in the fact. This was before this fact was out. We had a quick look, couldn't really see anything, and said, "You just have to roll a dice for it," because we were playing our own game. But
right.
so I think it would have been fine if it was like an ISD and it was going at speed 2, it'd be fine because it temporarily pushes you down to 1. But you then navigate your dial up to 3. Which is pushed down to 2, so you're still at 2. But because it was capped out,
so that makes Interdictor better against slower ships than we thought.
So I think that's a potentially an important change. What's next?
The obstructed wall just below that.
Oh yeah.
So if your line of sight is obstructed, are you obstructed?
No, but I think that's because
that seems to be what that question is asking.
I think this one, like Matt's saying,
if you have your ship base over an obstacle. And you can tell that some of the obstacle pokes out.
Yeah.
And I think this came up at the regionals where if you could somehow see through it, that yellow dot would be on the obstacle.
That's how we played it.
But it wasn't clearly outside of the ship base. So they sort of had to guess and say, it's probably obstructed because the yellow dot's on the obstacle. But it's saying that...
that's exactly what it's saying, because you trace line of sight from yellow dot to yellow dot. Range is measured from the edge of the cardboard.
Pass over a visible portion.
Yeah, the trace line. It's visible portion. So it's saying.
So if your back end is on an obstacle,
what about the dial?
You're shooting at your front, you're not obstructed.
The dial covers up a chunk as well, so that would.
It's saying if you're on the edge of an obstacle and the yellow dot is behind the obstacle, but the obstacle doesn't poke out above your base, you're not obstructed.
Right.
Is what it's saying, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, if it doesn't poke outside of your base, then you don't really know.
Yeah.
Because there's no way of telling for sure, do you get the benefit of the doubt?
It's good for them to clarify that.
Yeah, well, at least we know.
Good clarification. Advanced gunnery?
Yeah, advanced.
It's just slave turrets they've changed there, isn't it?
No, it's also just confirming if you've got gunnery team.
That was in the previous fact.
Yeah, that was before.
I think all they've added this one is the slave turrets.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So basically, advanced gunnery doesn't overwrite any upgrade cards.
Yeah. That's consistent, at least.
Yeah.
And then we've got Montferrat, is it?
Yeah.
Next.
So it's basically if a ship gets a crit that says you can't shoot if your attack is obstructed, you can't shoot a Montferrat ship because the attack would count as obstructed.
Oh, yeah, that's actually come up in one of my games.
Which reminds me of the card I want. I want a Super Dodonna mixed with Kraken. So I can give everyone...
So everyone's obstructed with Kraken. You can pick out the crits. That sounds amazing.
Cracked Donna? Cracked Donna?
Maybe we can do that in the last game of Corellian.
We'll merge the admirals.
Yeah. Then we've got Constantine, which is just a clarification of how it reacts with a certain crit.
Yeah, it's fine.
Comsnet, which I think we all played it as it is there anyway, didn't we?
Yeah, I thought this was obvious, but apparently
it is basically saying exactly the same, isn't it? This can only be resolved after the reveal command dial step, and the card says after the reveal command dial step.
Yeah.
So what's the?
But it was a case of people saying, right, I'll pass that token away, and then I'll use this command.
Yeah, but that was obvious.
That's what the card already says.
Yeah.
But basically, it stops you from already having you have a fighter token on your transport, and you reveal a navigation order. You take that nav order into a token. You can't then give that nav token away to another ship.
Because you have to choose which token you're keeping before you...
Well, so you can pass that nav token away, but you would lose the fighter token you already have.
Yeah, so that's why they were keeping it, because they were pretending they hadn't lost it.
Yeah. But that ruling, the way that's phrased, to me that doesn't change the way the card's phrased in any way, does it?
I can't see the difference.
Are they just putting it in there to say, look guys, when we mean this, we really mean this?
Yeah, maybe just everyone was doing it. Maybe they just... because it's an FAQ, maybe they literally had hundreds of people asking them the same question, so they were like... Fine, if this obviously isn't clear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then the Devastator.
Another obvious one.
Yeah, so if you get your defense tokens back with Devastator and Taggy, I suppose, then you don't keep building up dice.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. But no.
Although, as you said earlier, Ben, for 10 points is ridiculously overpriced. So,
crazy,
so basically,
isn't it?
if that wasn't there and you were allowed to build that up, it might just be
still would probably be overpriced because it's actually quite hard to burn all your defense tokens on an ISD.
It's good for Vader.
Well, you could just
They just get accuracy.
But you could, you could just use them.
You can intel officer your own tokens.
Can you?
You can, yeah. It's clarified in here.
Yeah.
Intel officer.
Wow.
And a ship with this card equipped can choose one of its own defense tokens when resolving this card.
There we go. So Vader, Intel Officer, Devastator. It's like the most expensive shit combo ever imagined, isn't it?
50 points to get one extra blue dice.
Well, until they put in the ion cannon upgrade that gives you a front-facing blue dice, we just got to take what you can get.
And then the next one, we actually had a massive debate about the other week. Fire control teams,
yeah.
and this is ridiculous. I think it's the correct ruling, and this is the ruling that
by the letter of the rules, this is the way it should.
But what makes it ridiculous is, as you pointed out, Ricky, in the article when they released, which ship does this come with?
Liberty, yeah.
When they released it, they went, you can do such great things, such as XX9, do 3 crits with XX9s, and then they've actually had to say,
the article said,
it doesn't work.
You do your regular crit, and then you use Fire Control Team to activate a second crit on your XX9s, dealing a total of 3 face-up cards. But the rules, because XX9's worded weirdly and says the first, not an additional card is flipped face up, but the first 2.
Yeah. And then standard crit effect says the first card that's dealt face down is dealt
face up. So they don't stack, unfortunately, which is a shame because I thought that was a cool combo and it would be good to have seen more XX9s.
Although for me though, like it's just it's like you hear this, you must hear this in lots of different gaming podcasts and theories. If a card helps you win more, it's not actually very good.
Yeah, win more cards are not
great because you don't need them to get you.
If you're already winning.
So if you're already doing 2 crits plus at least 1 more face down to a guy, he's probably in a bit of trouble. Unless it's an ISD.
It just means how often are you ever going to use fire control teams?
Has anyone used it?
Because it takes up your gunnery team slot or your ordnance expert slot.
But
that's the problem.
Yeah, and it's an exhaust as well.
You can't even use it on a double arc.
So if you stack,
you might get some mileage out of Screed, but it wouldn't be like tier 1. It would be like in a.
That's it. That's because those 2 other upgrades are so powerful. Just anything to make less used cards more useful would have been nice.
At the down the list, it would
make like a demolisher shot really nice. If you soften something up and put minimal shields on it, you could APT and normal crit, or you could like do something with an ion cannon maybe out of the front of an ISD.
I know, but then you're giving up your gunnery teams on the ISD or your ordnance experts on Demolisher.
Not great, is it?
It's a shame. It's a real shame.
G8 experimental projector. What did they change here? Shall I get the original?
It just clarifies that you can do it on an engine tech.
That's right.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay.
So if you don't use it on their first move, you use it when they engine tech, and then they basically don't get to engine tech.
Yeah,
which is good because that's a nerf on Demolisher.
Yeah,
That's possibly the better way to do it.
And a buff on Interdictor.
Yeah, exactly.
it's
a win-win, really, isn't it?
Interdictor's top of the take the station meta.
So that's good. I mean, that's the way I read the card.
Yeah, we
initially, but it's good to
sure we
clarify.
did. Yeah, we
cool. They're on his office.
Medine,
yeah.
Medine doesn't stack with nav teams, which is a shame.
But nobody used nav teams.
I tried it once.
Did you?
With Medine.
With Medine, yeah.
How did it work out?
I wish I had engine techs instead.
Yeah.
They are more expensive now.
Yeah, they are more expensive.
But only like 2 points or something, aren't they?
And we got a few things about Recon.
Yeah, so they just clarified. Ships and squadrons are removed before resolving end of round or end of game effects, but I thought
that's what it says already because it's the end of the status phase comes before the end of the turn.
Yeah,
because this came up quite recently with us. We were playing fire lanes, and Recon ships die before you add up your fire lane dice because fire lane's done at the very end of the turn.
It's 2, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. So that clarifies the way that we did it.
Cool.
And the ruthless strategic.
Yeah, so you can keep ruthlessing up your.
I kind of thought you could do that anyway.
Well, that's the way the rules are written, but I guess they just wanted to say, you think this is a bit overpowered? Yeah, it is. It is over.
Well, after they said that, although you have to still keep shooting Recon escort ships.
Yeah.
This
Had to be.
This had to be true as well, if that was true.
Although it's not really a big deal because who uses ruthless strategists in a?
I have it in one of my lists to try.
Well, that's it, because none of the rebel
none
of the rebel carriers have the gunnery team slot for it.
Yeah.
You'd have to have an assault frigate in there, which isn't great for recon.
Yeah. Okay, grab shift, reroute.
Oh yeah, so your dangerous territory tokens move with your terrain.
They're not going to stay, were they?
No. Well, they might have done because it does say you don't move the tokens. On the card it says don't move the tokens, don't overlap tokens. So I think that actually did need clearing up for dangerous territory.
And is that the only change? Move any overlapped squadron out of the way. Place the obstacle.
Can't play some underships.
They just clarify because the original card says you can't overlap tokens, obstacles, or ships, but it doesn't say you can't overlap squadrons. So it's just clarifying that you put the squadron in the same place. You just put the token under the squadron. It's fine.
Yeah.
Are you getting any position actually? So they did change it. So the player who's not moving the obstacle gets to place the squadrons in any position.
Just as if they've been
so you could theoretically give you a little your TIE fighters a bit of a boost forward.
No, because if you move, the other guy places them.
Yeah.
So
you don't really want to be doing it that much.
No, but that is an actual change. So,
is there much power to?
And the rotation thing as well. I guess that's a clarification.
Well, it stops arguments, which is always good.
Yeah,
we've not really used the interdictor enough. I've never seen anyone use the card that moves them.
No, I think it's one of the better cards. I'm surprised people don't use it more.
Yeah,
but again, this is what dominates the take the station meta.
Yeah,
earlier.
Take the station. Ooh.
Yeah, I'm not going to take it, but I'm going to bring it closer to me.
I really want to see that happen in the game.
No, but it's not even a game. Like literally, you can't lose if you take engine text and grab shift reroute. You drag the station closer to you. You make one of the other players speed 0 with whatever that's called, and then use engine tech towards the station. You cannot get there.
And you put this
behind anyone else.
But you always get there first.
Yeah.
And as long as you don't die, you win the game.
You put MS1 ion cannons on, so you zap their engine techs as well.
So is it literally just 4 interdictors and they go, right, I'm going to move it here, and I'm going to move it back, I'm going to move it back.
Man, whoever's last player is that.
That'll be a fun game.
Dear.
Okay, next MS1 ion cannons.
Yeah.
Again, that's kind of...
So funnily enough, your 2-point upgrade doesn't mean that Akbar doesn't work for a turn.
Surprise.
Who would have thought?
But that's...
It's
just a clarifying, isn't it? Because the rules are written that way. Because the rules only say you can't use a card you can't exhaust a card that's exhausted. They don't say you can't use a card that's exhausted. They just say you can't re-exhaust it.
You would hope they would think you'd have to have exhaust on it.
So if it's something that doesn't need you to exhaust, then it doesn't...
Well, it's good to clarify, but I'm surprised people needed that one.
So, tournament regulations, I've got that here as well. We can just flick through those very briefly. So the changes on that, we've got... I don't know why they put this in. They've said they've clarified that it only applies to fleet building rules that mandate 400 points maximum. So, assuming it's saying these don't apply when you're playing a friendly campaign game at home,
or if someone ever runs a tournament that's like 300 points or something like that, because then the margin of victories would have to all be different.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense. Then they've just defined marshal, judge, and player. They've just done the roles, and I guess that's in time for worlds and big tournaments that need proper things defined, but it also tells who can do what sort of thing. So the marshal is the
he's the guy with the badge and the hat.
Yeah, basically.
Rounding up bad guys.
The judge.
Oh, really? Spectator? That's cool.
Yeah, so you've got spectator.
It's actually against the rules to have your friend help you out.
Can't disturb an ongoing game.
Because that happens a lot in if you. Well, I had a load of people when I was at Nationals.
Yeah.
Loads of people came because we were on the top table at the end. We had a crowd of 10 people on each side watching, and
really?
People were saying stuff. I was trying to ignore it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you can.
Now you can call the marshal over.
They are officially breaking the spectator rule now.
Man, but then who gets what happens if that happens?
Nothing. It just says you can't do it.
Right.
Otherwise, you're a very naughty boy.
Right. Trade embargo or something, I guess, if you break that one.
Lifetime ban from all future events. And then they just clarify here where leaders can play in relaxed tournaments. Then they've defined unsporting conduct. They've just clarified that this is a game for 2 players.
Fantastic.
they've added in you have to use the same list for the tournament, which everybody did anyway. But
oh wow! I missed out on that loophole.
Yeah.
So what have you got with you? Right, shuffle.
Yeah. I've got 15 lists that are all max geared to like min-max against all the messes.
Just gonna rock paper scissor the shit out of this one.
And then they've clarified that you cannot have the non-campaign missions. Missions. Right. You now have to add your name to your fleet list.
On the sheet.
You have to identify a card. So if you have Vader on your as Admiral, you have to make clear that you have Vader Admiral in brackets. You can't put Vader because it could be misinterpreted as the squadron card.
Oh, but you just paid the wrong points for him.
But also it's
and
on
didn't
your
bring
ship,
an Admiral.
it's in the upgrade column on your ship list.
Fair enough. Well, you never know what's going to come forward. There might be like 40
it.
different hands in the future or something like that.
Well, no, it's the... Yeah, and it might be...
this is it. This is going to be in the campaign. There's going to be...
more squadrons.
Of the same people already in the game.
Well, there'll be different names, but they're the same squadron types. They might be, but we don't know.
There might be a new Rican.
Rican
as B-wing pilot.
You have to be pretty fucking good for you to forfeit not having him as your admiral.
He leads the escape from Hoth, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So maybe he's going to be on a flotilla or something.
Oh man, interesting.
You can't have him.
No, I doubt he's going to be in the game. It's another one of those things.
As a commander instead of
that's been across the various game systems. Like it's very important for their card games. Now that you've got to say,
there must be so many different versions of like I don't know, Rob Stark or whatever.
Yeah. Well, funnily enough, that is one of them.
So they've then clarified some stuff on tokens, which is all fairly noddy. It's just you can use whatever you like as tokens as long as it's clear what their purpose is.
Oh, okay, so you can buy. You don't have to have FFG ones, for example. You want to bought some chronic tokens.
Yeah. But it says that they're not allowed to obscure significant component information, so you can't have like a dial.
You can't have a 6-inch nav token that goes over your ship.
or you can't have, and they have to be unambiguous. So you can't have like the cog symbol for an engineering with a little concentrated fire explosion in the middle. You put it down, and then it goes, "Oh right, I took some damage I wasn't expecting." Engineering. You can't do that.
Man, that'd be really cheeky if someone had double-sided token.
Yeah.
You're not giving out ideas.
A sleight of hand. Oh yeah, it was actually. It was actually
or like command dials that are like really hard to read. You flip it over. And go, I was a squadron all along. I promise.
Oh my god.
Although I do find the squadron and the concentrate fire look similar from a distance.
Problem is, cheater's going to cheat. It's not going to really.
Yeah, and then they said you can only use official Star Wars Armada components other than tokens.
Oh.
And range rulers that match the dimensions of an official range ruler, which is
so you're still allowed to use.
You're still allowed to use them, but the marshal can check them at any time.
Which is because the plastic ones, the acrylic ones they gave out for regionals aren't the same.
They're not the same. They're not the same length.
No,
they're not.
They're like a millimetre.
They're 1 mil longer, and some of the range boundaries are slightly different.
But not even from the cardboard. The two of them are different lengths. The two I've got. So the range one. So the one you get in the box is reversible. So it's by definition both sides are the same length. Yeah. But the green ones.
One side's got gunnery and one side's got squadrons on.
Yeah, but they're different sticks.
Two different sticks, yeah.
And one's longer than the other by like a millimetre.
That's a win or a lose.
And some of the range boundaries are different to the cardboard ones as well. I forget off the top of my head. I did line them up with each other and they were just off by like a mil or two.
Yeah.
That's important.
It can make it. Yeah, I've almost every game I have a shot that's like you're not quite sure if it's in or out.
Yeah.
Keep them out on the table, and then if it looks iffy, you go with the longest one. It's a legitimate ruler. It's from the game.
Yeah, so basically, gave it to me.
What this FAQ has done is it's shut down. You can't have 15 lists and then pick the best one. You can't pick whichever of your range rulers is best for the situation, and you can't have tokens that you can't tell what they are. So
the game is ruined.
What?
How are we going to cheat now?
Oh dear.
No, it's all good.
They've then clarified everything is all components are legal for standard play except for the green objective cards.
Right.
So we knew that anyway, but it's good to have it in the things. They've just clarified the organizer should communicate the details of the event to players ahead of time. So no, just putting an event on the internet at 9:30 for 9:45 that day. Not allowed.
No.
Not officially banned.
Yeah.
It also says prior to the first round, if the marshal wants, they can mandate each player manually verifies their opponent's fleet list. So, I guess that's just
to stop the
list check.
Or to save the marshal having to check 30
all the
lists.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Missed opportunities they've clarified, but it says here it's all players' responsibility to ensure all mandatory abilities are acknowledged. So you shouldn't.
All players.
Yeah. So you shouldn't. If there's something that's mandatory. So if you're if you're Recon, if you got Recon or something like that, you shouldn't rely on the other player to remind you that
your ship's
dead. Yeah. Because it's a mandatory state and it's your responsibility as well.
So it's like jamming fields. Like you could forget to use your own jamming fields whenever it suited you.
Yes.
And then
but it's your responsibility to do. You're basically saying you're kind of cheating if you don't. If you forget and your opponent forgets, you're as bad as your opponent.
About not shooting if someone forgets to take their shot.
That's not mandatory.
No, I suppose.
It's only mandatory.
Because quite often people forget to move their ships. I know that sounds dumb, but like that's you do your shooting and your squadrons, and then you're oh yeah, I forgot to move. So yeah, I don't know what that does. That change anything? Like if I forget to tell my opponent that he didn't move his ship, is that?
I guess if it was to your advantage,
it doesn't.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't say. It doesn't say there's any consequence, but it kind of just implies don't be a dick. Like implies that you should really remember
these rules. Yeah.
You should remember.
Just in bold. Don't be a dick.
So yeah, and then I mean this was already there, but I do think this is important, which is the players are expected to act with respect and not not intentionally distract or rush an opponent with the intent of forcing a missed opportunity. So, I mean, I heard that I don't think it was necessarily deliberate, but that happened to the guy who does the what's that other podcast? Fire When Ready.
Yeah.
Did you hear that episode?
I did, and I've forgotten the details.
I think he basically had dash.
Oh no,
shot.
It was Han.
Was it Han? Okay.
And the guy just started doing his first activation.
No, because I thought it was dash, and because you can when you do a squadron, you can shoot then move. And dash shot,
and then wanted to move,
but some defense token stuff happened, and there was a distraction. And then the other guy carried on with his squadrons, so Dash didn't get moved because it's not mandatory. He doesn't have to go back and move. And then Dash was on 1 health and was in a position to get shot, died, and it was like
cost him the game because
24 points went from a 6-5 to a 5-6.
Oh wow!
On the points,
and that was intentionally done by
no. We don't know if it was intentional.
No, he didn't say whether it was intentional or not, but I think there was
because you could easily do that.
The time was running out; it was quick. So,
like especially with Han, that's very easily done. If the other guy, if you've got Han and the other guy's going first, you've got to be really quick and get in there before he starts revealing his command dial.
It happened a load. I mean, Matt and I were playing casual, so it was fine for me to do it. But because Matt was the first player. And Tarkin is the start of the ship phase.
Oh, so if you're second player with Tarkin...
Matt just kept going, you ready with your dials? Yeah, right. I mean, not that he was intentionally trying to...
No.
Obviously, he let me as soon as I activated.
But technically speaking, like in a tournament...
Exactly. If you're first player, you can just go... Yeah, if you're first player, you can go, right, I'm going to do this, I've got the... Oh, you wanted to do Tarkin? Sorry, I've revealed my dial, it's too late.
Yeah, true.
Which is breaking that rule, so... Yeah. They've also... bumped up the final of a round. So if you go to the cut, the final is 180 minutes, so you get 3 hours.
Jesus. The game's already long enough as it is.
So your Demolisher MSU versus Demolisher MSU in the final list will become even longer.
At least they've not changed the
and then they've just clarified that you shouldn't play against the same opponent more than once. And then they're talking about this progression cut thing. And then they've formally put how you can drop.
Okay.
So you don't end up playing.
Yeah, ruin the tournament.
Yep. And then they've got, in terms of buys, they've just clarified a buy is... was a concession on there? Somewhere they've got concessions. Maybe that's future. Yeah, a buy is 140 and a MOV and 8 tournament points. Some stuff on Swiss, which is all fine. The lowest player gets a buy, which is 140. Yeah, and then they talk about this progression cut thing, which is the winner of the tournament doesn't win. They have to cut and play some more, like play top 4, top 8, top 16.
God, how long is that going to go?
But we'll come to this. I think it's on the next page or the next page after. You only get a progression cut in certain circumstances. So like spring kits and stuff don't have to have a progression cut. It's basically only nationals or big regionals. Bit about dropping.
So they just want to drag out for it to last longer, over more days.
I think it technically gives a slightly more accurate result.
Well, who's the best
It
player?
makes sure that the best people all play each other, and you don't get a situation where two guys won all their games, but they didn't play each other, and then one of them had one more point than the other guy. That's what you want to avoid.
Or like when I won at regionals, where my first game was against the like tournament organizer, who basically had never really played before, so I just absolutely wiped the floor with them and got a 10-0, and then I was in a great position, whereas some of you guys had some hard matchups. I just basically got a walkover. It wasn't even a bye because it was just it wasn't even like an 8-2. If the tournament organizer hadn't stepped in to make the numbers up, I would have just got a bye. 8-2 as the odd player in the first round. So I was actually able to jump ahead of all the guys who'd won store champs because they used their bye to get an 8-2. I got to play the tournament organizer who had I can't really even had because he'd never really played. So
someone else had written his list for him.
Someone else had written his list, and it was janky. Like he had combos that didn't work. Like I think he had Avenger. He had Overload Pulse on Avenger.
That's it. So it doesn't even
work.
Yeah.
so
double arcing, I suppose.
Yeah. But with an ISD front arc.
Yeah, not likely.
Yeah. And then this is quite cool. So they've said if your opponent concedes, you get a bar, you get 148 points unless you would have scored more.
So you can't force draw anymore.
Well, you can't just concede. You can't just concede for 8 necessarily. So if you're already
if you're already getting 10-0'd in the old rules, you could have just said, "Well, I give up. You only get 8 points now."
Yes.
Oh shit, man! Well, I'm glad they changed that.
But all of their ships and squadrons get destroyed, and then you work out the score. So if you set up and then went, "Oh, I give up." You in theory get a 10-0 because none of your stuff's dead and all of their stuff's dead. So you
unless you're playing hyperspace
points.
assault.
No, because any ships that don't get deployed count as destroyed.
Yeah, that's what
it specifically says that in.
So even like my assault in hyperspace,
your opponent,
and then he gives up.
That's what you mean. Yeah. That would be harsh. That would be ridiculous. So that's quite. I think that's quite good. They've clarified that. Margin of victory MOV stands for margin of victory. We kind of knew that. And then so this is the progression cut. So if you have 28 players or less, you don't get a cut. If you get 29 to 44, you cut to top 2 after 4 Swiss rounds. So this regional we're going to in Cardiff, if we get 29 players, it will be a 5 game.
Just for the last top 2.
But if we get 28 or less, it will be a 3 game. So if we get
one extra person adds 2 games on.
Yeah, but only for the top 2.
So that means just
no one's in the
final.
Was. Yeah. No, nationals would be the 45 to 90,
right,
which is 5 Swiss rounds.
And then a final.
So if you want to go home in any good amount of time, none of us can come top 2.
We'll lift share for that, right? So
if one of us is in the final, and the other guy's just got to sit there and silently wait.
Yeah, they've got to be. They're now defined as spectators
for 3 hours now. The final lasts 3 hours.
Right. I'm saying this now. We drive 2 cars there. One car can drive back.
One winner's car and one loser's car.
I'm getting a train. Or if it looks like that's going to happen, I'll concede to my opponent so he wins outright, so you guys get bumped down out of the top 2, so I can go home.
Wow! You're going to steal
10 points.
You're going to steal the nickname Dream Crush.
Does seem a bit harsh.
It's a long day, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the thing is, these are designed for like Game of Thrones and stuff, where it's an hour, or X-Wing an hour and a half for a round.
Have they not played these games?
Well, to be fair, like the cuts are much lower. So like you've got 3, 4, 5, and then you've got no cut, top 2, top 4. In X-Wing, it's like the cuts are top 8 always. So there's an extra 3 game, or in a lot of the bigger tournaments, an extra. So the fact they're only doing 2 or 4, but I guess certainly here, Nationals was what, 60, 70 people, was it?
No,
50.
Yeah.
So Nationals, which has got to be the biggest, most attended
They did
tournament.
top 2 anyway, didn't they?
Yeah,
So
that's exactly what they did.
They did exactly which was printed there, which is 5 top 2. I've never been to a tournament that's had more than 28 players, so I don't
Shouldn't really affect us that much.
Shouldn't really affect us much, no. Unless it's at a convention, in which case you're looking at a whole weekend anyway.
But it's growing.
It's growing.
It's growing, yeah.
Do we know how many tickets? Although
They do list it.
November is capped, isn't it?
Yeah, November sold out, but it was only 16.
Oh right.
Did it sell out?
Yeah, I bought one of the last ones.
Have you got one as well, Ricky?
I bought my ticket. I'm
Okay.
all good.
You bought one?
I bought both. So,
Yeah.
Pretty sure I have bought one.
are you sure?
I bought one, yeah.
So that's we're going to. So for the listeners, that's they're doing a summer kit in Cardiff Firestorm games in November. Which I guess is the same kit we just did here in Bristol. So there's no
an
no
extra
new stuff
opportunity for XI7
Another XI7.
yeah.
or another slave one.
Another slave one would be nice because I use it all the time.
last shot for me to get the last coin. This is the last coin they're doing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is, yeah. Well, will it complete your collection then?
Yeah, then I'll have all the coins if I get this one.
I thought you needed 8 or something.
Well, I wanted 6 as turn
Did
count.
you get a
which
regional
is
one?
Bit lame, but yeah.
Because you got like 3rd or something at the region.
Yeah, I got the regional, I got the store championship, got the nationals, got all of them except for this summer kit.
And the kit's bit that's what happened
The wave
before
one
you
stuff.
played.
Yeah, I don't have any of the wave one stuff.
Yeah. Good effort. Cool, so that's the FAQ and tournaments thing. Anybody got any comments or want to say anything out of that? I mean, it's fairly standard fact. They didn't nerf anything, turn anything down. They just clarified stuff.
No, yeah, it's all just good clarifications.
Yeah. Everything in X-Wing, everyone flipped their shit when the FAQ came out.
Oh, yeah.
Because of
Bit in Armada, we were all like, yeah, this is how we interpreted it. I was surprised to learn that jamming field was interpreted another way.
Yeah,
same here.
I wasn't even aware of it, no. Because I thought it was like self-evident that a 2-point upgrade was never going to be that powerful.
It was the first time we'd actually played with it, though, to be fair, and then...
Yeah, but the way... And in the article, not that the articles are written rules as the XS9 ruling
There's another one where they've done that.
But there is in that article where they released it, they did say jamming field affects both people.
Right.
When they did their little example
plays. Have you found much use from jamming field?
It was amazing.
Who's using it?
It
Because I've never
works
used it.
really well against Chris's list.
Because it neutralises Dengar, right? Is like if they have a Rhino
shut down with
Dengar.
Because then it stops the counter. Yeah.
Bomber's only got 1 dice, so they do nothing, which was very useful at that time. I think
it made it harder for you to thin me out, but it definitely was in your favour.
What's the range on it, though? Because Reimer's range is longer than the jamming field range, isn't it?
Yeah.
But we took out...
He managed to kill... You managed to one-shot my jump master, didn't you?
And then the other one as well.
And then killed Dengar as well. So I didn't have intel. So all my bombers were just sat in a jamming field going, well, I can't shoot the ship.
And I can't move.
But I can shoot their fighters, but I only have 1 die, and I have 1 die. So my bombers literally do nothing.
That's pretty cool.
So at the right time, in the right place.
Yeah.
Really good.
It's just hard to justify it over a repair cruise or something.
Right Hope as well meant that even when I did have them
before your jump masters died, you still couldn't hurt it.
I had to get a double. Had to get a hit crit just to get 1 damage from Right Hope. So yeah,
it's good. Situational.
I think it's awesome if you're just going to bomb people and not worry about getting shot by. You're not worried shooting enemy squadrons because you're just going to put Jan or Dengar or Intel in and just fire.
Yeah, and then just gives you extra survivability.
Just makes you survive for longer. Yeah. If you're not worried about taking out their squadrons too much.
Yeah, or if you know that a lot of people are taking small A-wing screens.
Yeah,
then it's really good
2
against
dice
that.
Instead of 3.
And then their counter goes down by 1 as well.
Yeah.
So they're really not going to do a lot to you.
Probably going to see it more.
Yeah.
And it's good if you've got lists where you're relying on a lot of squadron activations. Anyway, you can move your guys.
Yeah, you can get your alpha strike in and then drive the jamming fields up after you've shot. Yeah.
You can make a new list now.
Yeah. Whereas if you're using rogues because they don't activate,
they go at the end.
Your jamming fields already. Yeah. So cool. All right, we'll take a quick break and then we'll come back for some list discussion.